Hello, thank you for taking part in our International Women's Day talk.
You're welcome.
It was just an informal chat really, just to find out more about what you do and your experiences as being a woman in your industry. So we'll get started. So what does it mean to you to be a woman in your career, in your line of work now, or sort of previous jobs that you've done?
I think my previous job was very different to the job that I do now. So in that, I used to be a dancer, singer, actress. So I used to do lots of pop videos and stuff like that. And that work, you didn't have a lot of control. Whereas now, because I'm self-employed, I'm able to choose who I work with, when I work, companies that I work for. I have a lot more control. So that's quite empowering. So that's what I prefer, being in control of what I do.
Oh, lovely. So what are your experiences as being a woman within the health and fitness industry that you're part of now?
Well, there's two main things I found that took a bit of time to get used to. One was I teach classes, but I also personal train. And in the class scenario, when I first started about 14 years ago, I found that clients, people who came to my classes initially, were very reluctant to do the types of exercises that I was giving them because they weren't male orientated. They weren't heavyweight, strap your knees up, work until you burn. They were primarily, they had a little bit of that, but it wasn't work until you burn. It was a bit more controlled. And after trying out my exercise and coming to my classes, the people who came regularly obviously began to see quite nice effects and passed it on to their friends. So classes started to build. And then the word got out that even though what I was doing was different, it was very effective. And as a PT, the main thing I find is that a lot of females, especially younger females coming into looking for a personal trainer, tend to choose guys who are buff, and they aren't necessarily well qualified, rather than choosing somebody with experience or a woman. So I think women in general, not just me, have a tough time getting into that industry, because I think if you're male and you're muscly, women are going to go for you regardless of whether you've got qualifications or not. So I think those were the sort of main differences, I think.
Okay, thank you. So then your experience of working with other women. So I know that on our program you engage with a variety of different women and encourage them to stay active and keep fit. So sort of your experiences with that, really trying to encourage the physical activity from women rather than them coming forward to you to sign up.
I think it's a real privilege, actually, because a lot of the women that I work with, I have two groups of women. I have the women that I work with who struggle with financial issues or personal issues or mental health issues, and a lot of them don't have a lot of time, or they don't have a lot of money. So being on the Enable project is fantastic because they get access to something that is normally associated with people who have a bit more privilege, and encouraging them is really easy, because with my private clients, I would rock up to their houses and they'll open the door and they're fully clothed. I'm like, well, you're not doing your session today. And it's like, no, I didn't fancy doing it today because, I wasn't feeling up to it. And it's like, well, I could have had another session with somebody else. Whereas my Enable clients are willing, they try really hard, even if they're not familiar with exercise. So it's actually not that difficult. And we have a great time having a chat and a laugh. So encouraging them is not difficult at all. I find that when they rock up, they work really hard.
Okay, lovely. That's great to hear. Thank you. So do you see any barriers to physical activity for women, or that you've experienced yourself, or working with females in sport, any barriers that you sort of identified whilst working?
I think time, childcare, having access at the times that they're free, because a lot of the times when gyms are open, I mean, it's changed a lot since sort of 13, 14 years ago. But and a lot more gyms are open till later now. But when I first started, and still now, women have great difficulty finding the time to be able to travel to a gym. And even though more and more as the days go by and the weeks go by, we are seeing a lot more exercise facilities coming out online, so, lots of different apps and stuff like that. Women still struggle to find the time and the energy, because when they've got the time, they haven't got the energy because they have work as well as kids to look after. So I do see those as being the main barriers.
Yeah. So then moving forward from that, then what do you hope to see for women in the future of the health industry?
I think the main thing that's lacking for women is nutritional advice. And I don't mean just general, eat healthily, eat lots of vegetables. I'm talking about specifics to do with body types, how their body types respond to food. When is a good time, if you are going to treat yourself, to treat yourself? Is it before exercise or after exercise? All of these things I find are questions that my clients ask me. But they're not really available in the mainstream. If you go on the NHS website, for instance, it's very basic information. And some of it I don't agree with, but I can see why they have to sort of supply energy that's going to treat 99% of the public. So I understand why they do it. But I think what I'm looking for is more specific female-centered advice on nutrition. They have loads of exercise advice available to them, free and paid. But nutrition, I think, is lacking. So that, and as a nutritionist, I would like to see more nutrition, targeted nutrition for women, especially after menopause, for instance, or after you've had a baby or something like that. So yeah, nutrition is the thing for me.
Okay, great. Thank you for contributing to that. And just finally, just a part of International Women's Day is that we're sort of making our pledge and choosing to challenge sort of an area. Have you got a pledge that you'd like to make?
I do. I choose to challenge gender and racial bias so that all women, but especially women of colour, can have access to fair and appropriate healthcare. So that's something I've suffered from in the past. So that's what I pledge.
Great. Thank you so much, Rone, for taking part in
You're
this.
welcome.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.